I'm talking today with D. Ryan and Kevin Reome, who will be coming to Whitehall on Friday, May 30th to perform improvised comedy and also to teach both a beginner improv class as well as an intermediate improv class. And there's a little bonus for students of the intermediate improv class because for part of the evening's show, students will perform alongside Kevin and Dee. More details on the performance and classes can be found at artswhitelake.org/improv. Kevin Reome has been studying improv for over 30 years, starting first at the Second City Training Center in Chicago, and then also at IO Chicago with Del Close. He is a founding member of the long-form improv team Inside Vladimir, which performed as a house team at IO and at the Playground Theater. He currently teaches at the Second City Training Center in Chicago as a faculty member and has since 2005. And Dee Ryan has worked as an instructor at the Second City since 2022. Dee also served as an adjunct professor at Northwestern University's Department of Radio, Television, and Film, where they created and implemented curriculum and taught improv skills from 2013 onwards.
I'm going to throw in one other thing, just for anyone watching. Dee was on an episode of The Office. There you go.
That's right.
See her in person.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know how I have to follow up on that. I can't let that go. Dee, can you tell me about it? What was that like?
I think you didn't put in my credentials there that I was on a stage at Second City, ETC, and I toured with them, and I understudied main stage. So I knew Steve Carell, and I auditioned for The Office. So I'm in the episode of The Office with his improv class.
Oh, that is so perfect.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love it.
And he shoots me. Yes. And it's a meme. If you look out there, it's a meme. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am going to have to insert that when I edit this together. I'm going to have to put the name in.
Oh, that'd be cool. Do it.
Perfect. Well, you're both veteran Second City trainers from Chicago, and Chicago, for those who don't know, is sort of the hub of improv comedy. Second City is sort of the hub of the hub, and people come from all over to take classes. So we're really lucky to have you come into Whitehall. I'm excited to hear more about the classes and the performance. But before we get to that, I know whenever I talk to improvisers, especially new improvisers, they're so passionate. They talk about all the shows that they're seeing, all the classes they're taking, all the performances that they're doing. What was it for both of you that initially got you into improv? And what was it like when you were first starting out?
For me, it was definitely, just to continue on the Steve Carell train, it was just me moving to Chicago, and I didn't move for improv. I just moved to broaden my horizons, just do something different. I like the city. And I went and saw Second City a couple different times, and I'd see Carell, and he would just light a fire under me. Like, oh my God, does he make this look fun? He makes it look easy. He makes it look way easier than it is, but he just made it look fun, and I wanted to get up there and do it. And initially, I just thought, well, but I can't, because I'm not a theater major. I'm in education. I didn't do that. And then I found out there were classes at Second City, and so I took them, and it was just outstanding. And then, of course, what was great, the thing that feeds into it is not just being a student of improv, but then also still being an audience member of improv, like going to see shows. So we would go and see the main stage, and it was Carell and Stephen Colbert and Amy Sedaris were on the main stage. So we'd get to see, these icons. Even then, I treated them like they're celebrities, but it would just feed into everything. Hello, it would feed into everything that we had been taught in the classes. So it was just inspiring. It was great.
Yeah, I actually did move there. I read Something Wonderful right away when I was in college, and I was hearing all about Chicago and the ensemble work that was happening there, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I moved to Chicago without knowing a single person, and went there because I had heard about Del Close, and I started Second City at the same time I started IO. Probably you did too, Kevin, or did you do IO first? Yeah.
So, Second City just like maybe 8 months before I started at IO.
Okay. Yeah. So I went there for a summer and I did them both. At that point, you didn't have to audition for Second City. I wrote them a letter and said, can I take classes? And the person who was in charge of it said, well, you're supposed to audition. And I was like, I was in Boston doing improv at Improv Boston. And I was like, but I've been performing improv. And Joffrey, I think his name was, he was pretty famous. Lots of stories about him. Anyway, Joffrey said, well, if you suck, we'll kick you out. And then I just started taking that's the right way to do it. So yeah, but same thing. I was doing theater. I am a theater major, and I didn't really love it so much, partly because when you're 20, you're just like an ingenue. But when you do improv, you can be everybody. So, you have a voice. And I think that just was so amazing to me and freeing. And I think exactly what Kevin said. When you come to Chicago, especially when you're young, it's a whole community. And there are mentors on stages that you can go and watch and say, I want to be like that person. And then you take a class and you meet 12 people at a class, and then you go see a show and you meet 4 more people at that show. Then you go to see another show and you see those 16 people there, and you meet 20, and you just meet a whole community of people, and those people end up being your friends for life.
Yeah.
Very cool. Performing improv can be so much fun. It's a blast to watch and to perform, but it can also be really helpful in life in general. A lot of life lessons can be learned from it. Kevin, I know that you did a TED Talk talking about how improv taught you compassion. I'm wondering, what are some life lessons that you've both learned from improv?
So there's our big motto, the thing we follow is yes, and being able to accept somebody else's idea and actually build on that idea. Doing that in your regular life to yes, and I mean, my kids are just about grown. They're in their 20s now, but like as a parent, yes, anding your kids, you can easily get into parent mode and you just say no to everything, or find the times when you can yes and even when it's difficult, yes and. But I also think in your professional life, we're always in meetings and on the board of something and in organizations, and you already have preconceived ideas of some of the people that you interact with, and maybe you just go, man, today I'm going to listen to Ralph and I'm going to yes and everything he says. He usually says stupid things, but today I'm just going to yes and, because the concept for improv is when we do that, we make these great discoveries that we never saw possible before. And maybe when we do that to each other, we can find those same discoveries and not just shoot everything down.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think as a parent, to be an improviser is amazing. Improv is about being present and listening instead of sticking to one thing, being fluid, being vulnerable. And I think as a parent, that can be just such a great gift. We always, improvisers rehearse. We don't rehearse. We're not going to do what we did in rehearsal on stage, but what we're doing is we're training ourselves to be present with each other and to listen and to pick up on things that we're saying, to be intuitive, like get into an intuitive space. And as a parent, that's an amazing place to be. The other thing that I think that I really have learned from all these years of improvisation is about process. And that process is really hard. I go into corporate companies and I do corporate coaching, and I will see how people are in the middle of a project and they are so frustrated by failing. And in improv, we fail and fail again. And one of the best things you learn about that is that is part of the process. And that instead of taking that fail home with you, but to know that tomorrow will be better, that this is a way that I'm slowly building my way up that mountain until this finished project. And I think that can be it's a wonderful meditation and a wonderful way to address process.
That's so cool. I love it. I remember an improviser telling me once, like, run towards the failure, like run towards it. Oh, that's cool. I like that. And it always seemed like they wound up in the most interesting scenes. So I love that, embracing the failure.
Yeah. What's the other one? Face the fear. It's not face the fear.
Follow the fear.
Follow the fear. That's it. Follow the fear is a lot of people go by that, and that's such a obviously scary way to live your life, but I'm pretty sure it's rewarding. You know, like go. I don't do it. Nah, I keep things safe. No,
Yeah, if
but
there's a place you can do it, it seems like on the stage would be, it's an idea. It's not real life. It's an ideal place.
right. Well, to do that TED talk, back to what Dee was saying about theater and just how flexible and fluid you can be on an improv stage and do all these different things. And then I decided to challenge myself with a TED talk, and now I'm saying, like, yeah, I can just go up there and kind of wing it, right? That's what I usually do. They're like, no, you wrote this thing, memorize it word for word and deliver it. I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. This is horrible. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to cry. And so all that did was make me work so hard at it to make sure that I did not fail. I mean, that's where I didn't want to fail. I could fail a million times leading up to that. And yes, that the failure leading up to it is essential. But when it was time to deliver, man, I was ready. I was beyond ready. I had over-readied myself, and then I was like, this is nothing. I got this. I've done it. Literally, I practiced it for the 2 weeks leading up to it, no less than 200 times. I was counting like 200 rolls of this because I was, it comes out of terror. So I was following the fear.
That's right. But then I'm sure, Kevin, because you have all these skills, that once you're on stage, you're able to throw all that work away and bring it and be present and connect with the audience. Because that's what it is. We were just talking about how I have a storytelling show too, and even with my students, like, this is about communication. Like, if you're not connecting with the audience, then what are you doing? You're performing in a vacuum. You have to connect with the audience. You have to be able to put it in your body and show as well as tell. And yeah, I think that's the other thing that's amazing about improv training is we don't pretend that the audience isn't there. We're playing off the audience. I mean, when Kevin and I improvise together, we'll use the audience. We'll go out into the audience and we'll talk to them, or we'll talk to the person going to the bathroom about what they're doing. And it's a circle. We hear the audience laugh and we follow that laughter. So it's such a live event of communication, of storytelling.
And let me set down a disclaimer. At this show, we will not pick on you. We will not unfairly spotlight you and make fun of you. So please come. And this also is not me opening the door to and shout out any obnoxious thing you want. Let's not do that either. But yes, there is a beautiful flow between stage and audience that we indulge in. But let's play within the boundaries of that. There's boundaries.
But I mean, if you get up in the middle of our performance and go somewhere,
we're gonna say something.
Like, where are you going?
What are you doing? You came to see a show. Why are you leaving?
Yeah. Anyway, it's just super fun.
Yeah.
In White Lake, we don't necessarily, we have some improv here, but we don't have lots of it. And so some of the folks who are going to be, in your classes might have very limited experience or have never improvised before. What is it that you enjoy most about teaching someone who maybe is brand new to improv or has never just done very limited amounts of it?
Go ahead, Dee. You can tackle that one first.
Okay. Well, I think I mean, it's so wonderful to see people building something together. People who might come into class and are very fearful of what's going to happen, and then seeing them relax and start to play. It's all about playing and how fun to play together. I do teach at Northwestern still, and at the end of my class, as the students were leaving at the final, someone came up to me and said, someone I don't know, someone from another class who was passing us said, "That is the happiest class at Northwestern." It's just so joyful. It's so fun to play together and discover things together. It's fun when you teach a class and people come in and they're a little wary, and then by the end of the class, it feels like family.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like there was a buddy of mine, an improviser friend, when we were first starting out in Chicago, that said, like, "I've never seen Animal House." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, we are going to get snacks and we are going to watch Animal House." So what's in it for me? I've seen it a bunch of times. I want to see somebody who I really like and respect. I want to see his take on stuff. And of course, he saw things in it that I didn't even notice. Or just his take on it was like, "Oh my God, that is so multi-leveled. I never considered that," you know? And I feel in an improv class, it's the same thing. It's that same desire to share this cool thing that I really, really like, and to see what you are going to bring to it that I can glean something from. Happens all the time where, I mean, it's a new person. They're not like an improviser exactly yet, but they say like a real plain layman take on something. And you're like, "For the love of God, I have been doing this for years and I have never thought of that." Like, bless you, you know, like it's just, and that's why, like Dee said, discovering these things together, discovery. Like, we're not just going like, "Here it is and do this, you got to do that, and that's that." Like, no, it's malleable. We are still learning. We are still figuring things out and having constant revelations.
And Kevin, do you, because like I always, especially with my beginner classes, I always play with them. I don't do scenes with them, but I'm always doing warm-ups with them.
Definitely.
If there's the pianist is in there, I'm going to sing and make up songs too. And, it's not easy for me, and I'm terrified as well. So it's a place for me to play too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do participate as much as I can without taking up too much of the air in the room and making it all about me. Like, okay, just give me 30 minutes here. I got this scene I'm working on. Everyone get your notepads out. I want notes.
No,
No.
no, but I do love to play Big Booty or Buddy Buddy. It makes me so happy. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
those are improv game or warm-ups, or
Yeah. Big booty, for the record.
That kind of segues into my next question here, which is that you're also going to be performing while you're here, and really excited about that, especially because students from the intermediate class will be performing for part of it alongside you. And I know I think you've done this before.
And I heard that nobody told me that in the contract. So I have to rethink this whole thing.
That's on me. That's completely on me. I knew that if I told her in advance, she'd walk.
She would not agree.
What? What is happening?
Right. There's going to be dogs on stage too.
Oh, whoa, puppies.
Yeah.
All right, I'm down.
So I guess this would be directed at Kevin in that case. Yeah, Kevin, I know you've done this before. What is it about that format that works well? Is it, I think Alice said that you've done it before and it usually seems to go really well. So what is it that works well?
Most of it is ego. It's like, can I do this with people who are newer at it? But no, the honest answer is that it is, we don't have to put all that pressure on ourselves. There's all kinds of levels of good and fun and less judgy on yourself and the whole thing. So, I really don't feel like I have levels of, that show was a B-. that show was an A plus, that show was a D. Like, I don't think I do that anymore. They generally pass a line of quality that I just go, they're all good. They're good. It's what it was. It happened. We had fun. I have a good feeling. I'm not going to sit here and analyze every bit of it. But it goes back to that same thing of, yes, it's fun to play with D and other, some of our other contemporaries that are just pros, and you can throw stuff at them and you're going to get this fun stuff back. But the excitement of somebody you don't know at all, and at whatever level they're at, we are going to discover things that we don't expect, and I find that absolutely thrilling. I find that is the equivalent to a bungee jump or a roller coaster ride. Like, that is extreme adrenaline for me to just go like, here we go. Whatever happens, happens, and I embrace it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I would also say that it's at this point, and I'm sure, Kevin, you agree with me. At this point, you're playing. It's not about me. It's about making the show good. So it's like, it's sort of fun. It's challenging. I think when I teach my classes, they'll get so, it has to be perfect for their show, and that everyone has to be doing perfectly. And I think it's so funny because at this point, and I'm sure, Kevin, you agree with me, I feel like, no, my job is to make it perfect. Like, I don't know what I'm going to walk into. I hardly play with the same people anymore now that I don't necessarily have a team. And I know Kevin has a whole show where he's constantly throwing people together. And the sort of joy about that is like, well, now the challenge is we got to do this together, because that is the ultimate goal of improvisers. We don't know each other, but we have the same sort of skill sets. And so we're just going to come in together and we're going to create something wonderful right away.
Well, and that is I forgot that part of it, Dee, that you reminded me that it is like when you're playing with somebody that might be newer, suddenly the best version of your improviser self comes out, which is, oh, I'm going to give this person the world. I'm going to continue to give them gifts and lay groundwork so that we can all be successful. And it's a good lesson because that's how we're always supposed to be playing. But it naturally comes out when you're out there with people that are newer. But like, yeah, even when Dee and I play together, that's how we should always be playing. And we do play that way, to just give each other gifts and make it fun for the other person so that everyone's successful.
That's great. Yeah, I think I'm super excited to see that. And I think the intermediate students will be really pumped to have this new little bit of a roller coaster bungee jump experience.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for sure. Kevin and Dee, thanks so much for talking with me today. Dee Ryan and Kevin Reome will be coming to Whitehall on Friday, May 30th to perform and teach improv comedy. More details at artswhitelake.org/improv. Kevin and Dee, thanks again for speaking with me.
Thanks so much, Ian.
See you soon.